Good morning, students. I am your social science teacher, Ravinder Kaur Virdi. Today we are going to study the chapter Nationalism in India. In this chapter, we will pick up the story from the 1920s and study the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. We will also explore how the Congress sought to develop the national movement, how different social groups participated in the movement, and how nationalism captured the imagination of people. So, as I said, that we will study about non-cooperation movement, satyagraha, all the movements of Gandhiji. And we should know that the reason of all the movement was First World War and the effects of First World War. So first, let's throw a light on the impact of the First World War. Due to First World War, entire world was facing the problem of economic crisis. Even in India, economic and politics were in problem. The war created a new economic situation. It led to a huge increase in defense expenditure, which was financed by war loans and increasing taxes. Custom duties were raised and income tax also introduced. Though the war years, prices increased doubling between 1913 and 1918, leading to extremely hardship for the common people. So common people were the worst sufferers. Next impact was forced recruitment. British East India Company forced Indian rural people for recruitment as a soldier. But people were not agree, so it caused widespread anger. Next, failure of crops. Even during 1918 to 19 and 1920-21, crops failed in many parts of India, which resulted acute shortages of food. Along with all these things, there was also a spread of epidemic influenza. In 1921, approx 12 to 13 million people died because of influenza epidemic and famines. So all these reasons were the ground of movements. Mahatma Gandhi returned to India in January 1915 with the novel idea of mass agitation called Satyagraha. Gandhiji planned to overcome from all these problems with the help of Satyagraha. The idea behind Satyagraha was the power of truth and the need to search for truth. According to Gandhiji, without being aggressive, a Satyagrahi could win the battle through non-violence. By this struggle, truth was bound to ultimately triumph. Mahatma Gandhi believed that this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. So, according to Gandhiji, Satyagraha was the only method by which people can win the world. So, he has given some Satyagraha movements organized by Gandhiji. Peasants movement in Champaran. Champaran is a place in Bihar in 1916. Peasants movement in Kheda district in Gujarat in 1917 and mill workers movement in Ahmedabad in 1918. Please learn the name of the place along with year. Okay. So in this way Gandhiji started all these movements in different places. The Rowlatt Act. British government also passed a Rowlatt Act. It was passed through the Imperial Legislative Council despite the united position of the Indian members. So Indian members were opposing this, but still Imperial Legislative Council passed this Rowlatt Act. This act gave the government enormous power to repress political activities. It allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. So Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against such unjust laws, or you can say against Rowlatt Act. So he started the movement with Hartal on 6th April. Rallies were also organized in various cities. Workers went on strike in railway workshops and shops closed down. The railway and telegraph would be disrupted. Therefore, the British administration decided to clamp down on nationalists. Even local leaders were picked up from Amritsar, and Mahatma Gandhi was barred from entering Delhi. He was not allowed to enter Delhi. Okay, so people were angry due to Rowlatt Act. This was also one of the reasons. Second incident was Jallianwala Bagh massacre on 13th April 1919. In Amritsar, according to Rowlatt Act, the police fired upon a peaceful procession on 10th April 1919, and this firing provoked widespread attacks on government buildings. It means due to this, people got angry and they demolished many government buildings, railways, post office, and banks. They damaged. Thus, just to repress the uprising of people, government has imposed martial law, which was under the command of General Dyer. On 13th April 1919, rural people of Amritsar, villagers, they all gathered in Jallianwala Bagh to celebrate Baisakhi. A crowd of villagers were there in Jallianwala Bagh, and the Bagh was enclosed from all sides with a narrow entry. People were unaware of the martial law that had been imposed. But General Dyer entered the area, blocked the exit points. He entered the area and blocked the exit points and fired on the crowd. Hundreds of people were killed in the incident. Public reaction to the incident took a violent turn. The government was quite brutal in its response. Things took highly violent turn. Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement as he did not want violence to continue. So Gandhiji also realized that because of Jallianwala Bagh, people turned violent, and violence was not the part of Mahatma Gandhi. So he stopped the movement. Next, again he wanted to go for a nationwide movement, which he found in the Khilafat movement. The Khilafat movement, Mahatma Gandhi got an opportunity to bring the Hindu and Muslims on a common platform. The Ottoman Turkey was badly defeated in the First World War. There were rumors about a harsh peace treaty likely to be imposed on the Ottoman Emperor, who was the spiritual head of the Islamic world, the Khalifa. Okay, they called them Khalifa. And they were very hurt, badly hurt, that why they are behaving badly with our Khalifa. So against of that, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 1919 to defend the Khalifa. And two Muslim leaders, they were brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on the issue. At the Calcutta session of the Congress in September 1920, the resolution was passed to launch a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat and also for Swaraj. It means when Gandhiji discussed, Gandhiji saw as an opportunity to bring Muslim under the umbrella of a unified national movement. So he convinced other leaders of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as Swaraj. Okay. Now you must be thinking, why Gandhiji? Have you ever thought why Gandhiji only started non-cooperation, not any other movement? In his very famous book, Hind Swaraj, you will find he mentioned that the British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians. So, who was main culprit? Indians only, because Indian rulers supported British, okay, and had survived only because of their cooperation. So it means East India Company, they established their rule in India and they survived in India because of the cooperation of Indians only. So if he decided, if Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. Okay. So Gandhiji planned for this movement. He proposed that the movement should unfold in different stages. In first stage, surrender the titles which were awarded by the British government. He said the people, those who got awarded by the British government with different titles, please surrender their titles. Boycott of civil services, army, police, courts, legislative councils, schools and colleges. Even boycott of foreign goods, Manchester goods, and use Swadeshi goods. He also said if the government will use repressive measures against his movement, he will launch full civil disobedience campaign. So in this way, non-cooperation movement started. But non-cooperation movement, when he started in India, in different places, different people took the movement in different ways. So under the heading differing strands within the movement, we will study first the movement in the towns. So what was the phase of movement in town? The movement started with middle class participation in the cities. Thousands of students left government controlled schools and colleges. Headmasters and teachers resigned and lawyers gave up their practices. The council elections boycotted in most of provinces except Madras. Boycott of foreign goods. The effect of the movement on the Indian textile was great. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, and foreign cloth burnt in huge bonfires. But the movement in the cities gradually slowed down due to following reasons. First thing, that machine made goods were very cheap at rate, where khadi was very expensive, then machine made foreign cloth. So people again started using foreign cloth in place of khadi. Next problem was there were very few rare numbers of Indian schools. So now again teachers and students were forced to join the British school. So in this way the movement slowed down. Now the movement in countryside. Though people in the countryside interpreted the idea of Swaraj in their own way, but they participated in the movement on large scale. In Awadh, peasants launched the movement under the leadership of Baba Ramchandra against the talukdars and landlords. Whereas the tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. In the Gudam hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s under the leadership of Alluri Sitaram Raju against forest laws. The Gudam rebels attacked police station, attempted to kill British officials and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Now Swaraj in the plantation. There were some workers who were working in the tea estates of Assam. How that people took non-cooperation movement in their way. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom means the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed, and it meant retaining link with the village from which they had come. Under Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not allowed to leave the tea estates without permission. When the plantation workers heard of the non cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantation, and headed towards their homes. The plantation workers believed that the Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. So, children, till here we have done in volume 1. Next, civil disobedience movement we will do in volume 2 of this chapter. Thank you.